There is some evidence, however, that a fourth direction exists, and we are moving along it right now. That fourth direction, or dimension, is time. Einstein predicted this connection when he linked space and time into one unified space-time in his theories of relativity. According to him, time and space are two parts of the same thing. To me, this connects with 4D space very nicely.
First of all, the title is misleading because it states that time does not exist, and then goes on to explain fourth dimension time. So it's 4D time that's going to be debunked. The narrator here states that there is some evidence that a fourth dimension does exist. Emphasis here on some, because a vital piece of evidence that doesn't tick the box of the scientific method is experimentation. And mathematics itself isn't acceptable evidence because not all mathematical possibilities are physical possibilities. So before debunking 4D time, we're going to consider what it is. It's based on Albert Einstein's theory of special relativity, which states that along there are three dimensions of space, there's a fourth dimension that allows for the progress of events forward into the future. What's actually responsible for an event's progress are the four fundamental forces of nature, such as gravity, electromagnetism, and the weak and strong nuclear force. Because events are causal, and causality is a product of interactions, and these forces of nature are responsible for every interaction in the universe, meaning they're responsible for causality. So, with the four fundamental forces of nature propelling events and the three dimensions of space to accommodate their unfolding, then what is preventing events from occurring that a fourth dimension is required? What is time? It's been defined as what the clock measures. A very simple and effective argument against this definition is, if we don't know what time is, then how do we know clocks measure it? What clocks do actually measure is duration. Now you may be thinking that duration is time, so then clocks do measure time, but duration isn't time-based, because originally duration came from the Latin durare, meaning to last, like how much of a duration an event lasts. So duration is event-based, and the time units merely measure an event's duration, like they're originally designed for. If clocks did actually measure fourth dimension time, that would mean that thousands of years ago someone put a stick in the ground to track the passage of the day and inadvertently accessed the fourth dimension. Clocks were designed to track the passage of the day. Then they came to be recognized as devices for tracking some fourth dimension. Why this change to a dual purpose? That would be because of the sense that people started experiencing of what would come to be known as time passing. The reason I say what would come to be known as time passing is because the word time was coined with this passing phenomenon in mind. It is peculiar that an experience that's in recognition of our invented units came to be accepted as real. One possible reason may have been religious, because there was a god of time formed by the same name and is described as a destructive, all-devouring force, which is how many still perceive time today. We considered earlier how the meaning of duration changed from being an event-based term to a temporal one. What happened in history to bring about this change in meaning? That would have to be the invention of the clock and calendar, because they are instruments of what people believe is time, and duration can't be recognized as temporal. Other terms such as moment, past, present and future also went from being event to time-based terms. This change in terminologies isn't consistent with discoveries, meaning time is an illusion. And in the world of magical illusions, to accomplish a trick, what's required are props and misdirection. With the illusion of time passing, the rotation are the props that create the passing effect, and the units of measurement create the misdirection for the time effect. This is a result of fusing technology, the clock and calendar, with nature, Earth's rotations. Because before this invention, we lived on a planet in a solar system, but since then, we've also been living on a clock that's in a calendar. having our daily and yearly passages been explained by time units, making us perceive these daily and yearly passages as the passage of time. Another word that's worthy of consideration is spell. An example of the word in use is, he was left waiting for a long spell. The likely reason that time came to be referred to as spell is because the long time someone is left waiting is unknown, mysterious, and therefore has a magical effect. Spells aren't used in the world of magical illusions, but people are spellbound by time passing.